the signal from afar. In the unending vastness of the Verelian galaxy, where stars glimmered like scattered gems and black holes whispered secrets of forgotten worlds, the Elderly Council watched over countless civilizations. They were explorers, archivists, and guardians of knowledge, traveling across the cosmos to observe and record the rise and fall of species. Among their fleet of silent, gleaming ships was Xyler, one of the Council's sharpest and most daring explorers. His sleek vessel, the Lumina, glided through the dark expanse with an elegance that belied its power. Xyler was not only skilled in navigation and combat but also possessed an insatiable curiosity, the kind that often led explorers into uncharted territories, and occasionally into danger. It was on a routine sweep of the unremarkable sectors near the outer edges of the galaxy that Xyler's instruments detected something entirely unexpected. A signal. Not the usual electromagnetic blips from a dying star or the repetitive patterns of a standard intelligent transmission. This signal was chaotic yet strangely harmonious, like a melody hidden within static noise. Its origin was a small, seemingly insignificant star system that had escaped the attention of the Elderly for millennia. Xyler leaned over the control panel, his multi-limbed hands moving with practiced precision as the ship's sensors tried to analyze the anomaly. "This is peculiar," he murmured, his voice low, almost reverent. The patterns were complex, unpredictable, and yet oddly organized. Every pulse, every wave seemed to contain a rhythm, a heartbeat of something alive, something aware. He sent a detailed report to the Elderly Council, using the hyperwave communication network that connected all Elderly ships across light years. Within moments, the Council responded, their messages filled with a mixture of caution and intrigue. "Prepare an observation fleet," the message read. "This world may hold potential worth investigating. Proceed with care. Document everything. The galaxy is watching." The news of the discovery spread rapidly, though not within Earth's awareness. Across the vast Elderly territories, information about the mysterious blue planet was discussed, debated, and speculated upon. No other species in the galaxy had exhibited such irregular and unique signals. For some, it was an anomaly, a curiosity worth noting. For others, like Xyler, it was a call to adventure, a puzzle demanding to be solved. As the Lumina approached the system, Xyler marveled at the view. From light years away, the planet appeared as a soft blue orb, swirling with white clouds and shimmering oceans. Unlike most worlds, there was something almost magnetic about it. Its energy signature was faint but oddly compelling, almost as if the planet itself were alive and aware of its approaching visitors. "Beautiful," whispered Leora, the historian aboard the fleet's command ship. Leora's role was to record and interpret the cultures of civilizations the Elderly encountered. Her eyes, luminous and reflective, scanned the data streams, already piecing together potential patterns of intelligence. Such a small world, yet its signal carries a complexity I have never seen before. There is purpose here. Creativity. Life beyond the ordinary. Xyler nodded, feeling the same inexplicable fascination. He had seen planets teeming with advanced civilizations, with technologies that bent the very fabric of reality. He had witnessed species that could manipulate energy, bend time, and create entire artificial worlds. And yet, there was something pure, raw, and undeniably alive about this small blue planet. The Elderly fleet assembled in orbit, a formation of silver and chrome vessels reflecting starlight like shards of crystal. Each ship carried instruments capable of mapping continents, analyzing atmospheres, and detecting life forms down to the cellular level. Despite the sophistication of their technology, Xyler instructed them to remain cautious. They were observers first, intruders second. 4 days the fleet scanned the planet, recording everything. They observed vast oceans teeming with unknown creatures, continents dotted with life forms of unimaginable diversity, and storms that raged across deserts and plains like untamed forces of nature. Yet it wasn't just the scale of the planet that captured the Elderly's attention. It was the way the life forms interacted, adapted, and persisted. Even the smallest creatures exhibited resilience, ingenuity, and a kind of subtle artistry in their survival. Then, Xyler detected the source of the mysterious signal. It wasn't the oceans or the forests, nor the storms that danced across deserts. It was the inhabitants of the planet itself. Tiny, fragile, and seemingly insignificant, they moved in ways that suggested thought, intention, and a collective consciousness that was at once chaotic and beautiful. Humans, as they would later be called, were creatures of curiosity and creativity. They built structures that reached toward the sky, created devices to explore their world and beyond, and communicated in a way that resonated with the signal Xyler had detected. "They are remarkable," Xyler said quietly. Leora, standing beside him, studied the patterns in awe. "Primitive in technology, yes, but their mental and emotional complexity is astonishing. Look at how they build, how they care for each other, how they imagine. No species so young has ever displayed such heart." Xyler activated the Lumina's advanced sensors to zoom in on the planet's major population centers. Cities glimmered with energy at night, intricate networks of lights revealing civilization at work. Humans moved within these cities like sparks in a dark void, individually small, yet collectively creating something vibrant, alive, and unpredictable. "It is as if the planet itself encourages them," Leora observed. "Every structure, every signal we detect, carries a trace of creativity. They are not just surviving, they are imagining, aspiring, dreaming." The Elderly Council convened for a virtual discussion. Members debated fiercely. Some argued that humans were insignificant, fragile, and unworthy of the attention of an advanced civilization. Others, including Xyler, insisted that potential could not be measured by strength alone. "Courage, imagination, resilience, these are traits that define greatness," he argued. "This species may be small, but its spirit is enormous. We cannot dismiss them." As discussions continued, Xyler's fleet remained in orbit, continuing their silent observations. They recorded every pattern, every gesture, every innovation. Humans were unaware that eyes from across the galaxy were watching their every move. Every invention, every act of courage, every moment of curiosity was being catalogued, studied, and admired. And somewhere deep in the heart of the galaxy, across light years of space, Xyler and Leora realized something extraordinary. The smallest spark of life could illuminate the darkness of the universe, and even the weakest species could leave a mark upon the stars. The signal from afar was no longer just a curiosity. It was a warning, a revelation, and an inspiration. The galaxy had found Earth, and in doing so, it had discovered something it had never expected: courage, creativity, and the indomitable spirit of a tiny blue world that dared to dream. Arrival in the solar veil. After days of orbiting the small blue planet, the Elderly fleet finally made its descent from the cold expanse of deep space into the solar veil that surrounded Earth. The planet's atmosphere shimmered like liquid sapphire, filtering the sun's rays into brilliant emerald and gold patterns across the swirling clouds. Xyler's ship, the Lumina, glided silently through the outer layers of the atmosphere, sensors active, recording every detail of this strange, untouched world. Leora stood beside him on the observation deck, her eyes reflecting the kaleidoscopic beauty outside. "It is breathtaking," she whispered almost to herself. "No record, no simulation could ever capture this life in motion." Xyler remained silent for a moment, letting the enormity of the moment sink in. He had visited countless worlds, some lifeless, some teeming with advanced civilizations, and some in the throes of destruction. Yet Earth was different. There was a rhythm to its chaos, a subtle order beneath the apparent disorder. It was alive not only in its forests, oceans, and skies but also in its people, the humans. From orbit, Earth was a mosaic of color and movement. Oceans stretched endlessly, dotted with the white caps of crashing waves. Forests sprawled like living carpets across continents, rivers wound like silver threads through the land, and deserts glimmered with heat and light. And in the midst of this natural splendor were the humans themselves, tiny sparks of life, busy, purposeful, and utterly unaware of the eyes watching them from the stars. "Prepare the observation drones," Xyler commanded. His voice was calm, authoritative, but carried a note of excitement. "We need to understand them, see them up close without interference." The fleet's drones, sleek and silent, descended like shimmering silver fireflies. Each drone could analyze everything from atmospheric composition to molecular structures, capturing life in motion without disturbing it. They hovered over cities, forests, and oceans, recording the humans in their daily lives. Xyler watched as humans built, explored, and struggled. Even the mundane, a child learning to walk, a farmer tending fields, a scientist studying the stars, was extraordinary in the eyes of the elderly. "These creatures, they are fragile," Leora said, her voice tinged with awe. "And yet, their resilience is astonishing. Every action they take, every decision carries the weight of choice and consequence. They are small, yet the energy they radiate is immense." Xyler's attention was drawn to a human settlement near the coast. Buildings rose unevenly, a mixture of artistic expression and practical necessity. Roads wove like threads through neighborhoods, and vehicles moved in coordinated chaos. Humans interacted, communicated, built, and destroyed with equal fervor. Every act, no matter how small, left a mark on the world around them. They adapt to everything, Zeiler noted. Storms, heat, scarcity, they endure. And even when they struggle, they create. They imagine. They dream. As the fleet continued its observations, Leora pointed out patterns in human behavior that fascinated her. See how they cooperate yet compete. How they build for survival but also for beauty. They fight yet they care. There is balance in their chaos. Zeiler nodded. They are unpredictable. That is what makes them remarkable. The Elderly Council, observing through the fleet's network, debated the implications of these findings. Some argued that humans were insignificant, a species barely scraping by on a single planet, destined to be forgotten. Others, inspired by Zeiler's reports, insisted that Earth held potential beyond what could be measured by technology or size. The human strength lies not in power but in spirit, Zeiler told them. We cannot ignore what they are becoming. Meanwhile, the fleet's sensors detected human attempts at exploration beyond their planet. Rockets rose and fell, machines probed their seas and skies, and scientists communicated across vast distances. Humans were fragile, yes, but they sought to understand the universe around them. That desire, the elderly realized, was as powerful as any weapon or technology. Zeiler decided to focus on a single city as a case study. The city was vibrant, a hub of culture, commerce, and human ingenuity. From orbit, the elderly watched the humans' patterns, how they moved, how they interacted, how they struggled and succeeded. They were primitive in comparison to the elderly's vast knowledge, yet every human action carried intention, creativity, and resilience. Observe the children, Leora suggested, pointing to a playground below. Tiny humans ran, fell, and laughed, learning the world in its simplest forms. Even in play, they demonstrate curiosity, resilience, and cooperation. These traits, they are the seeds of greatness. Zeiler's eyes scanned the entire planet. He saw humans facing storms, wildfires, and natural disasters. He saw them inventing, discovering, and pushing boundaries. And through it all, the humans endured, adapted, and persisted. The elderly had seen countless species fail in the face of adversity, but humans seemed to thrive not despite their challenges, but because of them. They inspire me, Zeiler said quietly, almost to himself. Fragile as they are, they burn brighter than any world we have ever observed. Leora smiled faintly, sharing his admiration. Perhaps this is why the signal drew us here. Not because they are strong or advanced, but because they are alive, truly alive. As night fell on Earth, the planet's cities glimmered like constellations mirrored on the surface. Humans continued their lives unaware of the silent watchers above. The elderly fleet recorded every detail, careful not to interfere. They were observers, chroniclers of a story that had only just begun. Zeiler stood at the observation deck, gazing down at the small blue world. He felt a strange sense of connection, an understanding that this planet, this species, held a significance the galaxy had never anticipated. Tomorrow, he said to Leora, we will begin closer observation. We will see their cities, their people, their lives, and perhaps understand why this planet matters so much. Leora nodded, her eyes still reflecting Earth's shimmering surface. The galaxy will be watching, she replied. And perhaps this fragile world will teach us something we never knew we needed to learn. As the fleet lingered in the solar veil, Earth continued its silent dance around its sun. Storms raged and faded, oceans swelled and receded, and humans went about their lives with unknowing courage. To the elderly, every heartbeat, every gesture, every act of creativity was a testament to the resilience and potential of a species that had captured the attention of the entire galaxy. For the first time, the elderly began to understand that greatness was not measured by size or power, but by spirit. And Earth, fragile and small, shone brighter than any world they had ever known. First contact attempt. The elderly fleet had been observing Earth for weeks, recording every detail of its human inhabitants. Their cities, their oceans, their forests, and most importantly, their behaviors. Zeiler and Leora had grown increasingly fascinated by this fragile species. Humans were chaotic, unpredictable, and physically weak, yet their resilience, creativity, and curiosity were unlike anything the elderly had encountered. This is the moment we have been preparing for, Zeiler said, standing on the observation deck of the Lumina, watching the bustling city below. We have seen their ingenuity, their courage, their potential. Now it is time to see how they respond to the unknown, to us. Leora's luminescent eyes reflected the planet's glow. Are you certain this is wise? Humans are unpredictable. They may panic, Or worse, attack. Xyler shook his head. That is exactly why we must proceed. If they are to be understood, we must engage. Observe how they react when faced with something truly alien. But remember, we are not conquerors. We are watchers, chroniclers, explorers. Nothing more. The Elderly fleet prepared a projection device, capable of manifesting their forms in Earth's atmosphere without causing harm. They had debated long over what image to show, how to appear to a species that had never known extraterrestrial life. Finally, they agreed on an ethereal form, beings of shimmering silver light, fluid and radiant, with shapes that were humanoid but otherworldly, hovering above the city like living constellations. Xyler activated the device, and the sky above the human metropolis transformed. Clouds rippled as a radiant figure appeared, hovering silently over the streets. Light refracted across buildings, casting an otherworldly glow. Humans stopped in their tracks, staring upward in disbelief. Cars screeched to a halt. Pedestrians scattered. Phones rose to capture the impossible sight. Stay calm, observe, Xyler instructed his team. Do not interfere. From below, chaos erupted. People screamed, pointing at the glowing figure. Some prayed, some ran, some froze in sheer terror. The Elderly sensors captured every micro-expression. Wide eyes, rapid heartbeats, trembling hands. And then, from the mass of fleeing humans, a single figure emerged. He was small, fragile-looking, with dark hair and bright, curious eyes. Kale. Unlike the others, Kale did not scream or run. Instead, he stared directly at the radiant projection, his fear tempered by an unmistakable sense of wonder. Slowly, he raised his hand in greeting, a gesture simple yet full of courage. Xyler's sensors recorded this anomaly, analyzing Kale's behavior in detail. Curious, this human does not flee. He acknowledges us. He understands, perhaps instinctively, that we are not immediately hostile. Leora's voice softened. There is something unique about him. A mixture of fear and courage, caution and curiosity. Rare in any species, let alone one so young. Kale took another step forward and then another, his movements careful but deliberate. Around him, the crowd continued to panic, but he remained steadfast, unafraid of what he could not yet understand. Xyler studied him intently. He embodies the spirit of this species, he said. Small, fragile, yet fearless. That is why the signal drew us here. The projection shimmered, and Xyler decided to communicate, not through words but through thought and light. A message formed, gentle and melodic. We are watchers. We mean no harm. Your world, your courage, your creativity have been witnessed. Kale tilted his head, sensing the message though he could not hear it in any conventional way. To him, it felt like a whisper in his mind, a warmth in his chest, a call to understand something greater than himself. And then instinctively he spoke aloud. We are learning. We are trying. We want to understand too. Xyler exchanged a glance with Leora. This small gesture, the human's willingness to engage, to respond thoughtfully, was more than any technological data could reveal. It spoke of intelligence, empathy, and spirit. The humans below, still terrified, began to notice Kale's courage. Slowly some stopped running. Others lifted their phones again, watching not just with fear but with awe. Something about this human, the bravery of one small individual, seemed to resonate across the crowd. Even in their panic, humans were capable of courage, and the Elderly observed this with fascination. Remarkable, Leora whispered. Even in terror they can rise. Even in chaos they can show understanding. This is not a species of weakness, they are resilient. Xyler nodded. Yes, that is why they matter. Not for their power, not for their technology, but for their spirit. The spark of life on this fragile planet is brighter than many worlds we have catalogued. As hours passed, the projection hovered silently, observing without interference. The humans gradually resumed their routines, though whispers of wonder and fear lingered. Kale returned to his home, still pondering the impossible encounter, unaware that his courage had been noted by eyes across the galaxy. In the command chamber of the Lumina, Xyler and Leora reviewed the data. Every heartbeat, every micro-expression, every reaction had been recorded. Humans were chaotic, yes, but there was a pattern beneath it. An undeniable resilience, ingenuity, and curiosity that defied expectation. They are unlike anything we have ever seen, Xyler said quietly. They are fragile, yes, but in their fragility there is strength. In their curiosity there is genius. In their fear there is courage. This is why the galaxy will watch them. Leora smiled, a hint of awe in her voice. And they do not yet know. They have no idea how many eyes are upon them, how many minds are analyzing, admiring, learning. They are completely unaware of the galaxy's astonishment. Xyler looked out at Earth, glowing under the starlight, alive with life and energy. Tomorrow we will continue observation. Perhaps we will learn more about their societies, their ambitions, their hopes. But for now, the first contact has been made. And it has left an impression, on both them and on us. The Eldari fleet remained in orbit, silent observers of a planet that had just begun to reveal its secrets. Humans continued their lives, unaware that their courage, creativity, and spirit had been witnessed, admired, and recorded. In that moment, Earth was no longer just a small blue world. It had become a symbol, a fragile yet brilliant spark of life in a galaxy that was beginning to take notice. And somewhere deep in the command deck, Xyler allowed himself a rare smile. "This is only the beginning," he said. "They will grow, they will learn, and the galaxy will watch in astonishment." A glimpse of humanity. The Eldari fleet hovered silently above Earth, a constellation of silver ships reflecting sunlight across oceans and cities. After the initial contact, Xyler and Leora had spent days observing the humans more closely, studying their societies, behaviors, and interactions. What they had first considered a chaotic and fragile species was slowly revealing a depth that astonished even the most experienced Eldari. "Observe their daily lives," Leora instructed, pointing to a dense city below. "It is in these routines that we will understand them." Xyler activated the fleet's enhanced observation drones, sending them into neighborhoods, marketplaces, schools, and laboratories. The drones moved silently, capturing the humans' world in intricate detail. Every movement, every gesture, every moment of interaction was recorded, analyzed, and catalogued. Humans were, at first glance, ordinary. They built homes, tended gardens, taught their children, and worked long hours to provide for their families. They laughed, they cried, they celebrated, and they mourned. But even the smallest acts contained an extraordinary energy, a determination to survive, to create, and to understand their world. Leora focused on a small classroom where children were learning about stars. She watched as a young girl, Sari, raised her hand eagerly, eyes wide with curiosity. "Why do stars shine?" she asked her teacher. The teacher smiled and explained, using words the girl could understand. Sari's eyes sparkled, and she scribbled notes with meticulous care, absorbing every detail. "These children," Leora said softly, "even at this young age they are reaching for knowledge beyond their world. They do not wait for answers, they seek them." Xyler nodded. "It is remarkable. The humans' minds are alive with curiosity. Even in their small, fragile bodies, they hold an unyielding drive to understand the universe around them. That drive, it is what sets them apart." The drones then observed a small coastal village battered by a storm. Waves crashed against cliffs, wind tore at roofs, and rain fell in relentless sheets. Yet the humans adapted swiftly. Villagers secured their homes, rescued trapped animals, and helped neighbors. Every action displayed cooperation, problem-solving, and courage in the face of natural forces that dwarfed their physical power. "They survive," Leora said with admiration. "Not because they are strong, but because they are resourceful, compassionate, and determined." Xyler's attention turned to another scene. A group of humans on a barren desert planet, desert region actually part of Earth, constructing solar panels under the harsh sun. Each individual worked with precision, sweat glistening on their faces, yet their faces also held satisfaction and pride in the work they accomplished. "Even when the odds are against them," Xyler remarked, "they persist. They build. They innovate. They do not surrender." For Leora, the most fascinating human trait was their creativity. She observed artists painting murals, musicians composing songs, architects designing intricate buildings, and engineers creating complex machines. Humans expressed themselves in ways that transcended survival. They imagined, they dreamed, they created beauty for the sheer joy of it. "Strength alone does not make a civilization remarkable," Leora mused. "It is the imagination, the desire to leave a mark, that defines greatness. Humans, though physically weak, are overflowing with this force." The Eldari Council monitored Xyler's reports with growing interest. Some members, initially skeptical of humans' importance, were slowly beginning to understand. What humans lacked in technology or raw power, they compensated with ingenuity, emotional depth, and resilience. Their lives, though fleeting and fragile, were charged with meaning and creativity. Xyler directed drones to observe humans working together during crises. Fires, floods, earthquakes, nature's fury tested them constantly. Yet humans organized themselves, improvised solutions and saved lives. Even the smallest acts of kindness were meticulously recorded by the fleet's sensors. Leora noted the subtle interactions that often went unnoticed by human eyes: a stranger giving water to a worker, a neighbor carrying groceries for an elderly person, a teacher comforting a frightened child. These small gestures, Leora said, reveal a species capable of empathy, understanding, and selflessness. These traits are rare in the galaxy. Many civilizations achieve power but lack compassion. Humans have both, and that is extraordinary. The Eldari also observed humans exploring beyond their home world. Rockets and satellites pierced the sky, probes traversed oceans, and scientists studied the stars. Despite their technological infancy, humans were driven by a desire to explore, to understand, and to expand the boundaries of knowledge. Every experiment, every failed attempt, every incremental success was a testament to their persistence and curiosity. Xyler reflected on the significance of what they were witnessing. They are flawed, fragile, and limited in so many ways. And yet, their spirit is untamed. No adversity can extinguish it. That is why the signal drew us here. That is why they matter. Leora, reviewing hours of drone footage, added, "It is in these ordinary moments, teaching, creating, helping, exploring, that the true greatness of this species is revealed. They may not yet dominate the galaxy, but they inspire it. They are proof that life, in its most fragile form, can achieve greatness through courage, ingenuity, and heart." The Eldari fleet continued its silent observation, noting the resilience of humans across continents, climates, and cultures. Every community, from bustling cities to remote villages, displayed the same traits: creativity, courage, curiosity, and cooperation. Humans faced challenges daily, both natural and self-inflicted, but they endured, adapted, and often flourished. As night fell over Earth, cities glimmered with lights like constellations mirrored on the surface. The humans below continued their lives, unaware that beings from across the galaxy were observing, analyzing, and admiring them. Xyler and Leora watched silently, hearts full of awe. "They are extraordinary," Xyler whispered. "So small, so fragile, yet capable of so much. The galaxy will be astonished when it learns of them." Leora nodded. "Indeed. Perhaps one day they will rise to meet the stars. Perhaps one day they will astonish even us." For now, Earth spun quietly in its orbit, teeming with life, creativity, and spirit. The humans continued their unassuming existence, unknowingly inspiring a civilization far beyond their comprehension. The Eldari observed, chronicled, and reflected, realizing that true greatness was not measured by power, technology, or conquest, but by the courage, curiosity, and heart of a species willing to grow despite its fragility. And so, the first glimpse of humanity left an indelible mark on the Eldari, a lesson in resilience, creativity, and spirit. A small, blue planet, fragile yet brilliant, had captured the attention of the galaxy, not for what it had, but for what it represented. The Galactic Debate. Back aboard the Lumina, the Eldari fleet's command ship, Xyler and Leora prepared to present their findings to the Eldari Council. The chamber was vast, circular, and suspended in zero gravity, with holographic projections of stars, planets, and galaxies swirling in midair. Eldari Council members, each a master of exploration and diplomacy, gathered in anticipation. Some were curious, others skeptical, and a few harbored outright disdain for the subject of discussion: a fragile species on a small, unremarkable planet called Earth. Xyler activated a projection, displaying hours of footage from Earth. Cities glimmered like constellations, forests swayed in the wind, oceans surged with life, and humans moved with unpredictable energy, laughing, crying, building, discovering, and dreaming. The council watched in silence, absorbing the intricate dance of life on this tiny blue world. Leora spoke first, her voice calm but full of wonder. "Honorable Council, we have observed a species unlike any we have encountered. Humans are physically weak, technologically primitive, and socially chaotic. And yet, they possess qualities that cannot be measured by our instruments alone. They create beauty, explore relentlessly, help one another, and endure adversity with courage. Their spirit is remarkable." One elder, Veros, who had spent centuries cataloging civilizations across the Varelian galaxy, frowned. "You speak of a species barely capable of sustaining its own cities. They are fragile, unpredictable, and bound to fail. Why do you insist on elevating them above the countless species we have observed that possess strength, technology, and long lifespans?" Xyler's eyes, gleaming with conviction, met Veros' gaze. "Because power alone does not define greatness. Humans are small, yes, but their resilience, creativity, and empathy are extraordinary. They inspire in ways that no civilization we have catalogued has ever inspired. Their courage in the face of chaos, their ingenuity in adversity, these are qualities worth noting, even revering. Another council member, Serena, spoke with measured curiosity. You claim they inspire, yet they are confined to a single planet. What makes them worthy of attention when countless species have spread across galaxies, mastered energy, and shaped worlds? Leora interjected, her voice carrying quiet authority. Potential is not always obvious. Humans may be confined now, but their minds, their spirit, and their determination suggest they could one day rival, or surpass, entire civilizations. We are witnessing the early spark of something extraordinary. Ignoring it would be a mistake. A heated debate ensued. Elderly council members argued over the value of strength versus spirit, technology versus creativity, and order versus chaos. Some believed humans were insignificant, doomed to remain a minor species. Others, like Xyler and Leora, argued passionately that humans' resilience, curiosity, and ingenuity were the true hallmarks of greatness. Veros, still skeptical, leaned forward. And what of their violence? Their conflicts? Their divisions? No species survives with such self-destructive tendencies. Their spirit, as you call it, is fragile. One catastrophe, one mistake, and they will vanish. Is that the spark you wish to exalt? Xyler shook his head. It is precisely because they face such challenges, and endure, that they matter. Strength and technology are meaningless without the will to survive, to create, and to rise after failure. Humans embody that will. They are fragile, yes, but their fragility does not define them. Their courage, their ingenuity, their spirit does. Serena's eyes softened as she watched the projections. There is a quality here I have not observed elsewhere. Even in fear they act with compassion. Even in chaos they innovate. Even in struggle they persist. Perhaps you are correct, Xyler. Perhaps we have underestimated them. Xyler nodded solemnly. It is not just potential we witness. It is inspiration. Humanity's actions, their creativity, their resilience, they ignite a spark in the galaxy itself. They remind us that greatness is not measured by dominance or conquest, but by the courage to dream, to create, and to endure against all odds. The council remained divided. Some argued that humans should remain uncontacted, left to grow naturally, while others believed the galaxy should take notice, perhaps even guide them gently. Xyler and Leora argued for observation without interference, for humans to evolve at their own pace, but with the recognition that the galaxy had witnessed their existence. Finally, Elyon, the eldest council member, spoke. His voice was calm yet carried the weight of centuries. We have spent millennia cataloging civilizations. We have measured strength, technology, and survival rates. But never have we encountered a species whose essence, its spirit, so profoundly challenges our assumptions about life. Perhaps we have been too focused on physical or technological power. Perhaps greatness lies elsewhere, in resilience, creativity, and heart. The room fell silent. Even Veros, who had been most critical, stared at the projection in contemplation. The humans below, unaware of the debate occurring light years above, continued their lives, building, exploring, learning, and dreaming. Their fragility belied a strength that transcended measurement, a spark that ignited curiosity, admiration, and awe in an entire civilization. Xyler concluded, the galaxy is beginning to understand that true greatness is not found in dominance, or the ability to wield power, or the mastery of technology. It is found in the courage to face adversity, the imagination to dream, the compassion to care, and the resilience to rise again and again. Humans possess all of this, and though they are small, they are significant. Their story has only begun, and the galaxy is watching. Leora added, her voice filled with quiet reverence, they may not yet know it, but their existence has already left a mark on the galaxy. The elderly and many others across countless systems are witnessing their courage, their creativity, and their indomitable spirit. This fragile species will not be forgotten. The council adjourned, leaving Xyler and Leora alone on the observation deck. Below, Earth rotated silently, oceans glinting under the sun, clouds shifting across continents, and humans moving through their lives with unknowing bravery. Xyler's eyes softened as he gazed at the planet. They are so small yet so alive, he said. So fragile yet so strong. The galaxy will be astonished when it sees what they can become. Leora nodded. And we will be the chroniclers, Xyler. The watchers. For now, our role is to observe and understand. But someday, they may astonish even us. As the fleet lingered in orbit, Earth continued its silent dance around its star. Humans built, explored, created, and endured, entirely unaware that their lives had become the subject of fascination, admiration, and debate across a civilization far greater than themselves. The debate would continue, arguments would persist, but one truth had already been established. Humanity in all its fragile brilliance had captured the attention of the galaxy. And somewhere deep in the command deck, Xyler allowed himself a rare smile. The galaxy has found Earth. And in doing so, it has discovered something extraordinary, the spirit of humanity. The moment of awe. After the Elderly Council's heated debate, a decision was reached. They would continue to observe Earth but expand the scope. The entire galaxy would witness what humans had achieved, what they endured, and the spirit that radiated from their small blue planet. Xyler and Leora prepared the fleet for the unprecedented task of projecting Earth's essence across light years, a cosmic broadcast unlike any ever attempted. This will be the first time the galaxy sees humanity as we have seen them, Xyler said, standing on the observation deck of the Lumina. His eyes reflected the rotating planet below, alive with movement, light, and color. They are small, fragile. Yet what we have observed, their courage, ingenuity, and spirit, demands recognition. Leora nodded. Prepare the projection arrays. Every world, every species, every observer will witness their lives. Let the galaxy understand the brilliance of this fragile world. The fleet's advanced projection technology activated, rippling across the cosmos like a web of starlight. Across billions of kilometers, species from distant systems began to witness Earth, not as a distant dot in space but in vivid detail. Cities sparkled with life, forests swayed, oceans surged, deserts stretched endlessly, and humans moved within their world with all their chaotic energy. The galaxy watched, riveted. From distant observation points, civilizations gasped. They had never seen life so small yet so extraordinary. They saw humans facing storms and wildfires with ingenuity and courage, building machines and structures with precision and creativity, and working together despite limitations and conflict. They saw children learning, artists creating, scientists discovering, and explorers reaching beyond their planet, always pushing boundaries, always dreaming. This cannot be real, murmured a distant scholar from the Lyrith system. Such fragility, and yet such brilliance. I have catalogued millions of species, and none has shown this combination of courage, creativity, and spirit. Xyler and Leora monitored the galaxy's reaction, sensing astonishment ripple across star systems. The Elderly had predicted intrigue but not awe. The humans' energy, their determination, empathy, and imagination, resonated beyond the technological measures the observers could comprehend. They are fragile, Xyler admitted softly, but in their fragility lies an unmatched strength. Not of muscle, not of weaponry, but of heart, mind, and spirit. This is what the galaxy must see. Across Earth, humans continued their lives oblivious to the cosmic attention. Yet even the smallest acts, someone offering a hand to a stranger, a scientist working tirelessly to understand the universe, a child learning to read, were now magnified across the galaxy, each moment a testament to resilience and ingenuity. In the Varelian galaxy, political leaders, scholars, and explorers debated what they saw. Some doubted, believing the broadcast to be manipulated or exaggerated. Others were silenced, overwhelmed by the realization that a species so young, so small, and so seemingly insignificant could embody traits that civilizations far older and stronger often lacked. Leora's voice, calm and reverent, carried over the command deck. They endure. They create. They explore. They rise after failure. And they do so with compassion, courage, and curiosity. Even the smallest human has within them the spark of something magnificent. It is impossible not to admire them. Xyler turned to her. Do you see it? The galaxy is not just watching, they are learning. Witnessing humanity is changing how other species perceive life itself. We have underestimated the power of spirit for too long. Among the galaxy's observers, some civilizations were inspired. The energy of human perseverance sparked debates, philosophies, and even cultural movements. Entire species reconsidered the meaning of greatness. Was it measured by conquest, technology, or strength? Or was it measured by courage, creativity, and the will to endure against overwhelming odds? Meanwhile, on Earth, human achievements continued unabated. Rockets launched toward the heavens, scientists discovered new frontiers of knowledge, communities rebuilt after disasters, and children laughed and played, oblivious to the cosmic spotlight on their lives. Xyler observed them, feeling an unusual warmth, a mixture of admiration and hope. "They do not yet know the impact they have," he said softly. "But one day, the galaxy will recognize their potential fully. One day humanity will astonish even those who think themselves the masters of the stars." Leora smiled faintly. "And it begins with this moment. They have inspired awe simply by being themselves, by enduring, creating, and imagining. The galaxy will remember this forever." The broadcast continued for cycles, showing humans at their best and worst, in triumph and struggle. Every world that watched was forced to confront a truth that many had long ignored. Greatness is not always found in power, dominance, or technology. Sometimes, it is found in the courage to dream, the determination to endure, and the heart to rise again and again despite adversity. Xyler and Leora stood in silence, watching Earth glow below them. The humans had no idea how many eyes, minds, and civilizations were captivated by their lives. And yet, that ignorance made their brilliance all the more genuine. Their achievements were not for recognition. They were born of curiosity, necessity, and spirit. "This is only the beginning," Xyler said finally. "The galaxy has seen the spark. Now we wait to see what fire it can ignite." And so, the moment of awe passed, leaving the galaxy with a new perspective. Humanity, fragile and small, had reminded the cosmos that the heart and spirit of a species could rival the greatest civilizations. Even among stars, even among empires, the essence of life's courage and creativity shone brightest from a tiny blue world spinning silently in its sun's embrace. Earth had been discovered, not just by the elderly but by the entire galaxy. And the galaxy had been astonished. Legacy of Earth. The elderly fleet lingered at the edge of Earth's atmosphere, silent and radiant against the backdrop of stars. The galaxy had witnessed humanity's courage, creativity, and resilience. Planets across light years had paused to observe the small, fragile species that dared to dream, to endure, and to rise despite the odds. Yet, Earth itself remained blissfully unaware of the cosmic admiration it had earned. Humans continued their lives, building, creating, exploring, and struggling with the same determination that had first drawn the elderly's attention. Xyler stood on the observation deck of the Lumina, gazing down at the planet with quiet reverence. The cities glimmered beneath the night sky, oceans shimmered under moonlight, and storms danced across continents as if celebrating life itself. He had witnessed countless civilizations, from empires that spanned galaxies to species that had mastered energy and matter. And yet, humanity was unlike any he had ever seen. "They are fragile," Xyler said softly, almost to himself. "But in that fragility, there is strength, a spark that no power can extinguish." Leora joined him, her luminous eyes reflecting the planet's glow. "They inspire not by conquest, not by technology, but by spirit, by courage, by creativity. They are proof that greatness can exist in the most unlikely forms." The Elderly Council had convened one final time, agreeing that humanity should continue its journey unaltered, free to grow and explore without interference. Yet the fleet would leave behind a single, subtle message, a gift of encouragement and recognition. Xyler prepared the projection, a form of communication humans could perceive in their skies, ethereal and gentle, carrying words and intent across the atmosphere. "This message," Xyler explained, "is not meant to influence or guide them. It is a recognition of what they have already accomplished. A reminder that their courage and creativity are seen and admired." The projection shimmered into existence above the night sky. Light danced across clouds and city streets, forming symbols humans could intuitively understand, shapes of stars, waves, forests, and small human figures. Then a voice, melodic and resonant, filled the hearts of those who looked upward, not in sound but in feeling. "Humans of Earth, your courage, your creativity, and your spirit have been witnessed. Continue to dream, to explore, to create, and to endure. The galaxy now knows of your existence, and it will not forget." From the streets below, humans stopped and gazed skyward. Some thought it a natural phenomenon, others a miracle, a symbol, or even a dream. No one could fully comprehend it, yet each felt a profound sense of inspiration and connection. Among them, Kale, Sari, and countless others sensed something beyond explanation, a quiet acknowledgement from the cosmos itself. Xyler and Leora observed the scene silently, satisfied. The Elderly had done what was necessary. Humanity's achievements, spirit, and potential were now etched in the memory of the galaxy. The message was not a gift of technology, nor a blueprint for advancement, it was a testament to their existence, a recognition of what they had already achieved through sheer will, courage, and imagination. "Do you think they will understand?" Liora asked. Perhaps not immediately, Xyler replied. But they will feel it. And feeling is often the beginning of understanding. Humanity may not yet know the full impact of its existence, but it will continue to grow, to dream, and to astonish. The Eldari fleet prepared to depart. One by one, the ships glided away from Earth, fading into the cosmic horizon, leaving the planet spinning silently in the embrace of its sun. Xyler allowed himself a rare moment of reflection. Across the galaxy, countless civilizations had witnessed the courage and creativity of humans. Even those species that valued strength, dominance, and technology were beginning to understand that true greatness could emerge from unexpected places. The galaxy has learned, Xyler said. It has learned that life, no matter how small or fragile, can leave a mark that echoes across stars. Humanity is proof that courage, creativity, and spirit are forces more enduring than power or conquest. Liora placed a hand on his shoulder. And perhaps one day they will surpass even our expectations. They will explore the stars, create wonders, and inspire civilizations we cannot yet imagine. Their journey is only beginning. As Earth continued its rotation, humans remained unaware of the cosmic audience their lives had captured. They experienced storms, celebrations, discoveries, and failures, every act a small but significant thread in the story of their species. Every act of kindness, every invention, every creative expression added to the tapestry of humanity, which now stretched across the memory of a galaxy. Xyler and Liora watched in quiet awe. They are small yet immense, Xyler said. Fragile yet indomitable. Weak yet capable of inspiring entire civilizations. That is their legacy. The message remained in the sky for a few more cycles before fading, leaving only the stars. But its impact would endure in ways the humans could not yet comprehend. Across distant worlds, across the Varelian galaxy, beings would speak of Earth, the small blue planet where life had dared to be extraordinary. A world where courage, creativity, and spirit triumphed over fragility, a world that reminded the cosmos that greatness is not defined by size, strength, or conquest, but by the heart of a species willing to endure, to dream, and to rise. As the fleet disappeared into the vast expanse of space, Xyler looked back one final time. Earth will grow. Humanity will endure. And someday the galaxy will see what we have seen, that even the smallest spark can illuminate the universe. Liora smiled, watching the planet recede into the distance. For now they are a quiet inspiration. But their legacy has begun. The galaxy will not forget them. And so, Earth continued its journey around its sun, unaware of the cosmic admiration it had earned. Humans lived, loved, struggled, and created, leaving marks of courage and creativity on the planet and, unknowingly, in the hearts of the galaxy. Their legacy, small, fragile, and brilliant, had begun to shine across the stars, a testament to the enduring spirit of life itself. In the end, the Eldari fleet vanished into the dark expanse of the cosmos, leaving behind a single truth. Greatness is not measured by strength, technology, or dominance. It is measured by courage, creativity, and the indomitable will to rise again and again. Earth had been discovered. The galaxy had been astonished. And humanity's legacy had begun.